Yeah,
Well,
Chris, you're correct. Varsity Blues in the comments. Thanks, Chris.
nice. Check that out. Chris Lancia, how are you, man?
Good.
Well,
I'm always up for a solid movie reference.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, welcome everybody. We are going to go ahead and get started. Honor those that that are. I always thought the military is punctual, and so I want to make sure that as we're doing these Zoom calls, yeah, it's kind of hit and miss, right? Um, so we do want to honor those of you that have been able to hop on. My name's Todd Nelson. I'm the host of the Transition 30. Actually founded the Transition 30 network about three and a half years ago, amazingly. And it's been such a great adventure and a ride. And basically what we're all about is there's 44,000 nonprofits out there that are trying to support you, the transitioning service member. And we want to try to weed out some of those or at least vet some of those so that you know who are some great organizations that you can reach out to, number one. Number two, we want you to know who in that organization to reach out to on this call. And so, and then the last thing is we give each one of the SMEs on the call 5 minutes. And for some, that's harder than others. We won't name any names. But I do have a trusty little clock that we use and to make sure that we try to stay within those 5 minutes. And I just wanted to let you know at the end tomorrow, all of you will be getting a final email from us. And it will show a link for the YouTube channel for Transition 30. And so we're going to record all this. So don't feel like you have to take so many notes that you miss out on what's being said. We're also going to send out a transcript of the chat. So if you see somebody, oh, I meant to connect with them, then you'll be able to link onto that chat and go from there. And we'll have the LinkedIn profiles for everybody here on the call that are the subject matter experts. And then also you'll be able to join our Transition 30 group and get notified of any future events. So did want to just let you know that we're thrilled to have you here, and we want to go ahead and dive right in. And I am going to, because sometimes I conveniently forget for myself, but I am going to go ahead and start my clock, and y'all can see that I try to live by the rules that I add. So one of the things that I do is I am a financial advisor and I help transitioning service members in any way that I can. I'm a minister, and so I still get that desire to try to help people. And sometimes it means that I just pay it forward. And one of the things that I talk about on these calls is financial readiness. And one of the things I want to start at the beginning of my 5 minutes and the end is to reinforce that financial readiness is a foundation for everything else that we're going to talk about. Not because it's me saying that, that's the feedback that I get from a lot of veterans that have transitioned. And what they point to is, for instance, man, I want to, you're in logistics in the military, so I'm going to take a job at Amazon and they're going to pay me this 6-figure job and they're going to do all that. What they forget to tell you is that you're at 100% VA rating because you've got a blown out knee or blown out back. And oh yeah, Amazon wants you to walk 12, 15, 18 miles a day on cement warehouse floors. And within 3 months, you're completely wore out. All the things that have happened to you in the military are starting to flare up. But you made that decision because you wanted the 6-figure paycheck, because you wanted to pay down debt, or because you wanted to be able to afford some of the things for your family. And so you went out and got all those payments that for the toys that you need. So financial readiness, 2 to 5 years out, is absolutely critical, in my opinion. I'm going to go into some detail, and then we are going to just kind of reinforce that at the end. But here's some things to remember. Your VA rating within 6 months, if you're planning to utilize the BDD process, your 6-month window is a great time to start your VA. Get your private life insurance if you want to do that. do that before you start doing your VA evaluations. Why? Because when you have your private life insurance locked in, none of that is going to be now included in your VA rating is going to be accessible to the underwriters. Once you start going through the VA process, the same underwriters that are seeing that you have TBI or that you have, certain issues that will automatically exclude you. You will exclude yourself from private life insurance coverage if you're not careful. So make sure that you get that locked in before you start your BDD process or your VA evaluations. Also, remember SBP. If you are eligible for SBP, that is easily a $70,000 to $90,000 decision. And when you go into your out processing and they just want you to check a box that actually you don't even have to check a box, you are automatically opted into SBP. And if you don't want to do that, or if you haven't thought about that, realize it's a $70,000 to $90,000 decision. Make good use of your time and do the numbers beforehand. Check into your medical history, your spouse's medical history, that kind of thing. VGLI, again, sounds great. It's great for the purpose that it is, but every 5 years, those rates tick up. So that is easily a multi-$1,000 decision. Check out your options beforehand. Taxation. When you are looking at getting your out processing, and they'll say, what do you want on your pension, for instance? What do you want on your pension as far as withholding? Stories abound of, oh, well, just check the 10% or just put in 10%, that's standard. You land that $150,000 job, your pension, all of a sudden you're running into a multi-$1,000 tax bill next April because you didn't realize what it was going to do to you once you started making the big bucks in the civilian world. TSP, if you've got a loan on your TSP, make sure you pay it off before you retire if you can, because they will require that within 90 days of retirement. So I want to finish out by saying, and I've got 7 seconds left, so I'm going to make it quick. Financial readiness. Do not discount how important it is to be ready to make sure that your 2 to 5 years pay down those high interest debts, get rid of some of the toys if you have to, make sure you're going into transition with as little debt possible and as much savings as possible. So with that, we'll have a question and answer period at the end, but I do want to turn it over to the bearded, what is it? The bearded wonder of truth bombs. There it is. Keith Cassant.
Come on, Todd, you're the one that came up with that.
I know. But Keith is one of the most valuable members in my network simply because of how versatile he is and how willing he is. He works for CISA. You're free to tell us a little bit about that, but you're also the co-host now of the Vet SOS podcast, and great having you on, Keith. Tell us what we need to know as we're transitioning.
Sure. And I won't talk about Sister, the Vet SOS podcast, because that'll probably cut into my 5 minutes. And I usually don't make my 5 minutes as it is. So if you're interested in Sister or the Vet SOS podcast, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. I did leave my LinkedIn already in the chat there. But good afternoon, I think, for most everybody. Great to be here. So I'm probably the one guy that doesn't really have a pitching point, if you will. I'm not here necessarily even representing my agency or anything like that. I am your why guy tonight. So Todd's already given you some great info, some great insight, and hopefully I'm really going to kind of be here to set the stage as to telling you why you want to make sure you listen to every single person that is speaking tonight. Because yeah, the amazing thing about this resource is we are throwing a ton of invaluable information at you in a very short amount of time. So please take notes. I know you can go back and watch this, but I'm going to talk probably fast. In fact, I'm going to probably pick up the pace of my speed here real quick because I already know I'm going to start falling behind if I don't get rolling. So my job, they call me the Band-Aid Ripper, the Bearded Wonder of Truth Bombs, you name it. I'm that guy. But I promise, even if I rip off some Band-Aids tonight, we will rub some dirt on it before it's through. So what that said, I'm here to give you some truths about transition, right? So the first one is you need to figure out what you want to be when you grow up. Okay. I already see heads nodding, right? And that's the thing, right? Veterans, it's so easy for us to just get like all over the map, right? Because the military makes us jacks of all trades, which is absolutely true. But the civilian, the private sector, especially employers out there, they don't hire jacks of all trades. They have specific needs that they need specific skill sets for. So you need to figure out what in the world it is you want to be when you grow up. All right. And I say this because everything I'm telling you tonight, I'm speaking from experience because I was just like you. I was all over the map when I first came out. All right. The next thing is I want you to manage some expectations. Okay. You're going to fail. You are going to fail in this journey. You are going to fail in this process. Now, again, we're gonna roast some dirt on it. It's not as bad as it may sound, right? But that first resume review is gonna be brutal, right? It's gonna break your spirit and make you want to give up the entire thing altogether, right? That first job application you submit is going to fall on completely deaf ears. Nothing. You're never gonna hear anything about it, right? That first interview that you might have for a job may not result in a callback for the job offer, right? Now, granted, hopefully you're going to have some successes as we go along, but at some point, at least one of those things is going to happen. And the reason I say that is because transition is like a knife fight. Okay. So I train security teams on the side as well for a nonprofit. And when we get to that portion of the training, right, we tell people, if you get into a knife fight, you need to go in expecting to get cut. Because statistically speaking, you're going to, right? You're going to get cut. So when that happens, if you know it going in, you're not going to go into shock. Right? You're going to know it's coming. So when it happens, you're like, ow, that sucks. This really hurts, but I knew it was coming. And now I can keep fighting. You continue to focus on the fight at hand, right? Transition's no different. You're going to fail. You're going to fall down. It's going to hurt. It's going to suck. It's going to happen. Dust yourself or pick yourself up, dust yourself off and keep going. All right. The next thing you need to do, in addition to kind of when you be figuring out what you want to be when you grow up, you need to tighten your shot group. I don't know how. I was Army. I think most of the branches speak a similar language in this regard, but tightening your shot group. When you go to the range, right? We talk about when you're zeroing your weapon, how tight is your shot group? How close are your shots together? The job search is no different. You need to tighten that shot group because if you're shooting at everything that moves, you're not going to hit anything. You are actually, statistically speaking, you are decreasing your chances of getting anywhere in the job search. All right. This is not a run and gun game. This is not a shotgun blast game. People tell me all the time, oh, I sent out 50 resumes this week. And I'm like, that's awesome. You're not going to get a call back for a single one of them, fortunately, right? Because you're not doing it the right way if you're doing it like that. This is the sniper's game. How do snipers fight? They study their targets, they stalk their targets, and they take calculated shots at those targets that they've studied and stalked. So you got to approach it from that regard, right? The average resume application or job application on the civilian side, probably about 4 hours. So if you're pumping out 50 hours or 50 resumes a week, and you're doing 4 hours per resume, you got more time and more hours in the day than I do. All right. Not the last thing, maybe the last thing, depending on my time, networking. Okay, we'll probably talk about it more as the conversation goes on, right? But statistically speaking, 70 to 85% of all jobs are attained with networking. That resume that I've been harping on, that's only like half the battle, right? If you can also network your way into an organization, I'm not saying you can't do it with just a or you can't do it with only the resume, but that networking piece, that's like, if you can do the two in tandem, that's how you get your foot in the door, right? Mm-hmm. Again, I'm a perfect example of that. I've had 5 jobs since I retired from the Army. 4 of my 5 jobs I got through networking. But you hear it in TAP all the time, right? Build your network, build your network, build your network. Don't neglect the network you already have. For those of you, especially if you did 20, 30 years in the military, you have a network already. People have gotten out before you. Even if you did 4 years, people have gotten out before you. Where are they at? I say that because as I was going through my transition, I came to realize out of the 4 jobs that I got through networking, out of the 5 that I got, 2 of them were old Army buddies. 2 of them were people that I already had served with. They knew what I brought to the table, and I didn't have to worry about building a new relationship with them. All right, I know I'm over, but I just need to say it because I told them I'd rub dirt on it for them. The secret sauce to a successful transition: 1, don't give up. Right, I already alluded to it. You're going to get cut, but pick yourself up, dust yourself off. Don't give up. 2, find a mentor, find 10. Build a board of advisors around you that's going to support you through this transition that you can bounce ideas off of. And last but not least, leverage every single resource you can get your hands on. This Transition 30 is just one of many. It's an amazing one, but there's so many more others out there. And there's almost too many. Todd said it, 47,000, right? Well, if you have a mentor, if you have 10, they can help you navigate that as well. So that's the secret sauce. I'm done.
Dude, you almost disappointed me because that find a mentor, find 10. I'm like, that's what Keith always says. And it's because it's such great information. So anyway, We're going to move on. Jose Velazquez is a big part of the Leadership Transition Institute. That's not what he's here today, though. I had talked with him earlier in the spring, and I thought he brings a wealth of information when it comes to utilizing LinkedIn, networking, those kinds of things. So, Jose, what do we need to know when it comes to that area of LinkedIn and the whole transition and the networking that we've been talking about?
Yeah, Todd, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. So I surely, would have taken an entire hour or two to give you all a transition class on how to use LinkedIn, or at least a better class that's given it in the TAP program, which is 5 minutes on how to fill out and create a program for you, or I should say a profile. But what I'd like to do is really just do a quick introduction on who I am, recognizing that there's a Q&A session, and of course, in addition, anyone that wants to reach out to me. But, hello, everyone. I'm Jose Velazquez. I am the owner of a company called Velazquez Media Consulting, which is, we call it VMC for short. And our company helps service members, military spouses who are such an underserved part of the community, and veterans as well, reach their digital networking goals. And this is how we do it. We provide corporate annual and a la carte year-round services for companies and their employees. And we work with major military contractors to support their company's training requirements, and also support installation transition assistance programs by conducting physical and virtual expanded training. As you all know, if you've gone through the program yourself, whether that's a long time ago or more recently, TAP just doesn't have enough hours in the day to conduct significant LinkedIn training. And that's where we come in. While B2B does tend to be our day job, I work closely with service members, helping them learn how to successfully navigate LinkedIn. And as already been discussed, using networking and really focusing on building yourself as a brand. And I know a lot of people don't like that term, but inevitably, who are we if we're not a brand, right? And so for a lot of businesses and personal use, I've created a flagship program that includes either a full day immersive course for groups or individuals who have an interest in learning everything you can learn about LinkedIn. I should never say everything, right? There's always something new to learn. But in general, all the big wickets, if you will. And that includes building an all-star profile, networking with purpose. That is the important term, with purpose. Engaging with content and advanced tools familiarization that very few people know about that are very useful to you on the platform. In addition to that, we've got morning and afternoon programs that we can conduct. And for both companies and organizations that have difficulty breaking away for an entire day, we provide an option to spread out the training over 4 weeks, 1 hour a week. That makes it a lot easier for service members and also for corporations who want to conduct this training for pay, of course. And then finally, of course, we do provide individual C-suite kind of executive level solutions, which is obviously not why we're here to talk about, but please be aware we do provide that service. And that could last as little as a week or two, or, as long as you want to keep paying us, we're happy to be there with you. And finally, as I mentioned, and some of you mentioned as well, we're really proud of this. Our corporate programs fund us to conduct that individualized training to service members, their spouses, who are available to us or eligible to our program, regardless of when they are in their process. So a lot of military spouses in transition from job to job, not just leaving the service. And of course, veterans who've left within the last couple of years, who may be trying to figure themselves out and may not know how to use LinkedIn to its greatest benefit. And so we use that with the advertising of some of our organizations right here on our page, but mostly the Leader Transition Institute. You've had them on your program previously, and they are absolutely amazing. Just a quick plug, I'm not here for them, but the Leader Transition Institute, walks beside service members in transition, helping them better understand who they are, what they want, and what's going to make them happy, which, as discussed already and will likely be discussed further, are some of the most important things that we should figure out. If we know those things, the chances that we find the right job toward the beginning of our transition are far better. I can't say this enough about this program. I'm so thankful to be here, and I'm looking forward to the Q&A. I can answer your questions about about LinkedIn in depth, but I'd like to leave that for Q&A. And surely, if you want to discuss any of our programs, abilities, happy to talk to you about that as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Jose, thank you so much for that. And we are going to now move on to Lori Norris, who is the founder. And you'll have to tell us quickly how many seasons you're on, but she is the host for Lessons Learned for Vets. If you do not follow them, if you don't follow like Vet SOS podcast, you really are missing out on huge amounts of material that you need to have as you're transitioning. So Lori, tell us a little bit about, I know you specialize in resumes and some of that, but what do you want us to know today?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for having me. As Todd said, my name is Lori Norris. I have been serving the military transition community for almost 20 years. Obviously, I was a child prodigy and started when I was 5. And so I have been doing that through education. I volunteer. I'm right here by Luke Air Force Base in Arizona. I teach online, and I host the Lessons Learned for Vets podcast. I am often slandered in public for going over my time. I don't know who does that, and the reason I think that I often go is I have so much I want to tell you about the transition process. And as Todd said, I am the host of the Lessons Learned for Vets podcast, and there are 167 episodes out there. We are taking a break in the midst of season 4 right now, but I can promise you, if you're facing an issue in your transition, if you're up against an obstacle and you feel like I'm the only one that this is happening to, I can promise you, you're going to find an episode of the podcast where someone is facing that exact same issue. So why not go out and listen to how other people navigated that to help you? And I think that's why I always run over, because there's so much I want to tell you about. And so what I've decided to do today, so that I can maybe come in closer to my time, I'm not going to promise to be on time, is I want to talk to you about the resume. The resume in the military transition process is often a big stumbling block. And I'm here to tell you, I write resumes by trade. That's what I do for a living. It is not the most important part of your military transition. Keith said it's not even half of it. I made a face because I don't even know if it's a quarter of the military transition, but it's often what people focus on first. And so it is something that, I'm going to give you 5 things your resume needs to contain. And the very first item I'm going to tell you is probably not going to be a surprise to anybody that's listened to the podcast. And that very first thing your resume needs is focus. If you, like Keith said, if you don't tighten your shot group and you're trying to put a resume out there that's trying to appeal to everyone, it's going to appeal to no one. So the very first thing you need to do in your military transition is figure out, what do I want to be when I grow up? But I like to say, you just need to figure out what you want to do next. You don't have to do that for the rest of your career. You can change. That's the beauty of the private sector, or the civilian world. You can change careers, but your resume needs a focus. Having a resume without a focus in your military transition is like going fishing in the Pacific Ocean and having no idea what kind of fish you want to catch. What bait do you take? What tackle do you take? What part of the ocean do you fish in? You're going to come back from a day of fishing sunburned, tired, hungry, and frustrated, and you're going to say, there's no fish in that ocean. Well, we know that's not true. And so if you're job hunting right now and you're saying, no one's hiring, that's not true either. It is a challenging market, but people are landing jobs still all the time, but you've got to be focused and targeted. I wrote a post today that's like, stop wearing the badge of honor of like, I put in 50 applications this week. I've applied to 400 jobs. That's not something to be proud of. That tells me you're not job hunting efficiently. So have a focus. The second thing your resume needs is to communicate your unique value. Employers want to know, how are you going to make them money or save them money? That's what your resume has to answer. Your resume is not about you. It is about how you can help them. It is about where you're going next. So your resume is not about where you've been. It's about how where you've been can support your qualifications for where you're going. The third thing you need in that resume are measurable accomplishments. People don't understand what you did in the military. In fact, they know the military from books and movies and TV shows. And so it's your job to help them understand it. And your measurable accomplishments, telling them how many people you supervised, what the budgets you managed were, how many projects you managed, whatever it is, give them some measurables and tell them how you made an impact on that resume. The fourth thing you need on there are translated terms. People don't understand military language. And so not translating your military terminology on your resume is like going to a foreign country and expecting everyone there to speak English just because you do. So you've got to translate those terms. You have to help them see your value, understand your skills. And that's why I call myself bilingual. I don't speak a foreign language. I speak military, and I help that translation process for you. I don't want to see that. And last but not least are examples and stories. Don't just tell me you have a skill. Don't just give me a list of skills. Tell me a story. Give me an example of how you use that skill. Use your examples and stories to prove to me you have the qualifications to do the job going forward. So I did just about, let's see, episode 165, I went into this in a lot more detail. Follow me on LinkedIn. I try to post something about resumes every single week, and give the podcast a listen. I think that's my shortest time ever.
Lori, and I will say that translating the terms. So I've got a client that is a CW05 in the Marines. Yes, they do exist. When he told me that, I was like, cool. Sounds impressive. I had literally no clue. And that's what you're going to be up against. And the only reason I knew he was kind of a big deal is when he brought some of his assets in. I'm like, oh, okay, well, he was pretty successful. So it is a real thing, because I think I'm one of the only non-veterans on the call. It is a real thing. And so that's huge information that you just gave. And I'm sure there'll be some questions in the Q&A. Lucas Connolly with Recruit Military moved to God's country in New Hampshire, and tell us what we need to know about our transition.
Absolutely, Todd. Thanks for having me today. First and foremost, I just dropped my LinkedIn URL into the chat. Absolutely, everybody on the call, if you're not already connected with me, go ahead, hit the button. Go ahead, connect with me. Trust me, it's going to be worth your time and effort. I want to talk to you about 5 things, just 5, and hopefully that takes less than 5 minutes. I am a Skill Bridge Program Manager for Recruit Military. Recruit who? Recruit Military LLC. Go ahead and Google it. If you're bored with hearing my voice, do it right now. If I've captivated you, do it later. What are we doing? At no cost to you, we have job fairs. In fact, we are at Fort Liberty today. All right. As we speak, folks are probably getting in their cars after the job fair and excited that they participated. Hope you, if you're at Liberty, you had a chance to do so. We have about 100 events every year. A handful of those events are specific to trades, specific to industry, specific to certain companies, specific to certain branches. And then we have a pile of them. If you happen to be on the forefront of freedom somewhere, we do have a pile that are remote. Okay. We have a job board, 300,000, 400,000 job opportunities at any given time, all from companies that want to hire veterans. The only companies that work with us are folks that want to hire veterans, hands down. Indeed can't say that. LinkedIn can't say that. Monster can't say that. Ladders can't say that. Only we can say that. All right. Come to our job board, set up a profile. Someone will call you. Your phone will ring. One of our representatives will review your profile. Who else is going to? Is Indeed going to call you because you made a mistake? No, they're not going to call. LinkedIn's not going to call you. We're going to call you. We're going to go over your profile with you. Identify the things that are missing, make sure it's a fully optimized profile, help you upload your resume and get you on the road to success so you can hit one of those job opportunities. You can click the very easy apply now button and take that and combine it with a little bit of A little bit of networking, and you're on the road to a job. SkillBridge opportunities. There's been some changes to SkillBridge recently. We're on top of it. We've got new programs coming out in 2025 from Fortune 500 companies. They're going to provide you with meaningful career opportunities, okay? Programs with job offers at the end. Resources. Go to our resource page, all right? I'm going to drop that in the chat here in just a sec. You need an example of a resume? We've got resume examples. You want to attend a free seminar on how to write resumes? We've got that too. Advanced employment, interview skills, how to prepare and succeed at a job fair. We're going to be doing classes on LinkedIn in 2025. It's going to be amazing stuff. All cost you zip, zero, nada, nothing, zilch. Lastly, I want to take a minute to stump DAV, right? Folks, if there's a little voice in the back of your head saying, I'm not hurt that bad, it's not that painful, I'm fine, get over yourself, all right? Do your disability claim. If you don't have somebody reliable in your area, somebody who you're absolutely 100% certain is going to square you away and take care of you, go to the DAV website, dav.org. Go to their NSO locator tool so you can find somebody in your area who can take care of you and get your claim started. Whether you're on the right side of the DD-214 or left side of the DD-214, somebody's there to square you away. And if you don't get somebody to square you away, you let me know. I know the big dogs over there. I could pull a lever and get you connected to somebody, okay? Don't make the mistake of thinking that you're going to shortchange somebody else by not doing the claim. Do the claim, okay? If not for yourself, your children, your family, there are benefits that come along with that rating that are not just dollars and cents in your pocket. It's Title 32 and Title 35 and education benefits and survivor benefits and all these other great things. You earned it. Go get it. In the meantime, Todd, I'm going to cede some of my time back to you by saying just one last thing. Recruit Military, our mission, empowering the military community with meaningful career opportunities. And if you need to know some numbers, we've got about 300,000 job opportunities waiting for you on the job board. And I'm pretty sure you only need one.
I love that. Well, what if I need two? No, I'm just kidding.
Log in twice. Build two profiles, Todd. I got you.
That's it. Lucas, as always, it's great. And you know, if any of you need more information, we'll have a Q&A. But Recruit Military, I'm a strong believer in what they do. So we do want to now shift over to Dave Schantz because he's going to try to take what Lucas just gave back. Dave is the DoD SkillBridge champion, I think is what he says on LinkedIn. And he has certainly proven that to be true. So Dave, what do we need to know? As Lucas said, apparently some changes in SkillBridge. What do we need to know?
Yeah, thanks, Todd. First, I want to start by saying, Juan, you have the best Tom Selleck mustache I've ever seen, even better than Tom Selleck himself. It's amazing. Second thing, yeah. So, Todd, can you do me a favor and drop your YouTube channel in the comments?
Yeah.
I'm going to change up my content for many months, many sessions. I've shared pretty much the same thing because SkillBridge is a rotating door. Transition is a rotating door. People that I speak to today are probably not the people that I'm going to speak to next month. So I want you to go get some of the information I've already shared from Todd's YouTube channel, Transition 30. I want to go over some of the changes that are happening and some misnomers that I'm seeing quite often. Changes to the SkillBridge program are happening. Open enrollment for interested companies ended July 15th. What does that mean? The DoD is now going to seasonal enrollment schedules. October 1st is the next one, October 1st to December 1st. And then I think it's like February and March of next year, okay? This is a time management tool while they build out some other processes and products to better help the organizations as well as service members. I don't see this as being a full-time change. I do think that they're going to go back to full-time open enrollment, but for now, they need to buy some time back. There are about 5,000 approved organizations on the SkillBridge website. So if you hear that open enrollment has ended, don't think, oh no, you can't SkillBridge with the company you want to. There are other opportunities to do so. Third-party organizations are not going anywhere. Maybe you've heard that around Facebook or LinkedIn. Third-party organizations are not going anywhere. You still have the ability to join a SkillBridge program and have them facilitate the opportunity for you with an organization who is not approved. Be careful of who you join. Not every third-party organization is reputable. Hate to say that. I think the DoD does the best that they can with the information provided by organizations, and then the DoD's own investigation looking into organizations. But I'm going to say it again: not every third-party organization is created equally. Do your due diligence. Asynchronous training. Those Skillbridge programs where you just sit at a computer and you button mash. Next slide, next slide, next slide. Those are going away. They didn't benefit anybody, and they're never going to benefit anybody. Thank you, DoD, for changing that. Okay, now asynchronous training can only be a portion, a small portion of your Skillbridge program. That's a good thing. You may think, oh, I already have a lot of information on project management, so I just want to whiz through the PMP. I understand. But for the majority of people choosing those asynchronous opportunities, they don't actually get trained in anything. They don't end up with a nationally recognized certification, and they don't get a job after. The DoD is now emphasizing it will always be a train to hire program. They are now emphasizing the employment aspect. They want to see it is no longer good enough for a company to say, yeah, we'll train you and we'll help you get a job. No, for too long, too many organizations have said that without the job coming. Here's the bubble burst. Nobody woke up in DC one morning and was like, you know what? I want to do something nice for service members. That is absolutely not how Skillbridge got started. Okay. The DoD is on the hook for the first 2 years of unemployment for service members who don't transition successfully. So if they don't get their monetary gain by you getting a job immediately at a Skillbridge, then that Skillbridge program failed you. And that's what the DoD is trying to limit or completely mitigate. Okay. Salary negotiation. Okay. Salary negotiation. The time to negotiate is not before you start Skillbridge. Skillbridge is a train to hire program. You are not supposed to be qualified for the Skillbridge opportunity that you get, which means you're not qualified. You don't have any experience or education. So you're not really going to command the salary you think you may want or deserve. Okay. Another bubble burst. If you have a TSSCI, that does not guarantee you a six-figure salary. I can show you right now positions that require presidential clearance that will pay $65,000. Your TSSCI does not guarantee six figures. Please don't think that. Please don't spread that. Okay. Use resources like salary.com. Put in the name of the title of the job that you want, project manager, in the city you're looking for, Boulder, Colorado, right? And it's going to give you a bell curve. Okay. It's going to give you a bunch of numbers. The numbers on the left are the numbers that are the lower numbers, right? Those people that are getting paid the least because they have the least amount of education or time and experience. Thank you. Then the number on the left is those people that have been doing the job for a long time and have a lot of education in it. Okay. Do your due diligence, go into this knowing what you think you deserve, understand the market. Don't just take what other people, right? In the Navy, we called it like sea lawyer, right? Somebody who has no idea what they're talking about, but they're going to sit there and preach to you. Okay. Do your due diligence, know what you want to do, where you want to live to start your Skillbridge and transition journey, and then figure out where you stand in the salary curve so that way you can best negotiate for yourself. Thanks, Todd.
Awesome. Great information on Skillbridge. And I am going to say, Juan, if you can just drop in the chat any mustache growing tips, that would be huge. Yeah, Tom Selleck's got nothing on you, man. We are going to say at the end, so we've got one of two, Jose is the other one, of the presenters that have not been on this call before. So I'm really grateful for Scott Abram joining us. He is, I believe, the executive director of Boulder Crest. Got a couple of different locations and really great organization that helps transitioning and also veterans. So Scott, what do we need to know about your organization?
Thanks, Todd. Appreciate it. Yeah, I am the executive director of the Boulder Crest Foundation Ranch out in Sonoyta, Arizona. I am currently located at our headquarters facility that's up in Northern Virginia right now. We also have a new property down in Texas, just south of Dallas, that is also coming on board right now. But the big thing to know about Boulder Crest, we are the home of post-traumatic growth. Post-traumatic growth is the belief that it is possible to grow and thrive in the aftermath of traumatic experiences. And when we talk about trauma, obviously the first thing that comes to mind is, all the traumatic stuff that you saw during combat operations and all those sorts of things. However, we define a little bit more broadly and say, trauma really is anything that kind of challenges your core beliefs and really rocks your world just a little bit. And transition is one of those things, because you're going from a place where you knew exactly what you were doing, you knew exactly what the expectations were, you were comfortable, your family was comfortable, and now you're going out into this very nebulous environment where things are different, things are new, there's a lot to take in, you're going to a new place potentially where people don't really understand you the way that the people who were in uniform did. So that can be a very traumatic experience as you go through that. So what I really want to take the time here today to talk about is a little bit about how do you struggle well through that transition so that you can get through it effectively, learn a lot of really great lessons out of it that you can apply to your life and do better as you continue to grow. So a couple of big things to keep in mind as you go through this experience in your life. One of the first things is you need an environment of trust and connection. Human beings are social animals. That's just the way that we are. We've always been that way for all of humankind. So finding those people that can be around you, that can really support you and help you through this thing, you call it networking, call it whatever you want. It's the same sort of concept, but find those right people. Science has proven that we're the average of the 3 to 5 people that we spend the most amount of time with. So if you find 3 to 5 really good people, they will elevate you, bring you up to their level, help make you better every day. So finding those right folks who have that and build that environment of trust and connection around you is really important. The second thing you can do is educate yourself. Try to understand, like you've heard people talk about, you'll find out what you want to be when you grow up. Figure out what those things are, what motivates you, what drives you. Do you want to be in some kind of an organization where you are having a meaningful purpose every day in your life, or is a paycheck more important? Figuring out what that is so that you have that focus that Lori talked about, that you're going out there and finding that thing. And then one of the things you got to do through this whole thing, there's a lot of stress associated with transition. Finding a way to stay regulated, stay grounded, stay settled. Because what we find is people who don't self-regulate tend to self-medicate, and that's never a good option for trying to go and find a new job, because you don't want to be that guy. So finding a way to regulate yourself. There's all kinds of ways you can do it. Pick one, pick a number of them: meditation, reading, journaling, just going outside, working out, you name it. There's tons of stuff out there that you can do that just helps keep you grounded, keep you present where you are, so that you can deal with whatever these challenges are that come at you, because you're going to face challenges. You've heard everybody talk about it today. There's going to be times when you're going to get knocked down during this process. You're going to have the perfect job that is just right for you, and you're going to be told, no, thank you, we went with somebody else. That's going to hit you hard. So finding a way to stay regulated through that. The other thing you need to do, you need to be able to talk about this with somebody. You need to be able to disclose the stuff you're going through. Talk about the fears you're having. Talk about the struggles you're having, because when you get it off your chest, somebody else is now sharing that burden with you, and you're not in it alone. It's a great thing to have. And always keep in mind, this is your opportunity to write your new story. This is a new chapter in your life. You're the one who gets to choose where it goes. Your life is a choose your own adventure book, but it only works if you actually make the choice. So you are the one who now gets to write, where do I go from here? Where am I moving from this place? From the military, where do I go? And the last thing I really want to keep in mind is, remember this life of service that you're leaving right now. Don't leave that behind when you leave the military. There is something about doing something in the service of other people that is rewarding for you as well. There is a selfish component to being of service, because you get that hit of dopamine just like the person who's receiving it does. So don't forget to go out there and find a way to be of service in your community, so that you are doing something that's making a difference in the world, because that's going to help give you purpose and meaning and give you some fulfillment when you go through that. So those are some tips on how to get through this, how to struggle well. The last thing I'll give you is if you've got, either you're struggling, you've got some people in your life that are struggling, some of your fellow veterans or people that you know of, they're out there, if they're having a hard time, if they're struggling with PTSD, depression, anxiety, those types of things. One of the big things that we do is we run a program that's called Warrior Path. And each of our locations, we also have 7 partner locations around the country that run these programs as well, that really help to train people on how to achieve post-traumatic growth. We've been able to build a curriculum out that really can train people how to take all of these experiences that they have had, leave behind a lot of the crap that goes along with it, and be able to really take the lessons and help them to grow and thrive so they can continue to live a great life. The other thing we've got for you as you're transitioning out, this is a really traumatic time for families as well. So at each of our properties here in Virginia and out in Arizona, we also run family rest and reconnection programs, where we have the opportunity where you can come out just spend some time in a really beautiful location. We're in Southern Arizona right now. It's beautiful. We've had great monsoon season this year where everything is green and vibrant and lush. It's beautiful. It's just a place for families to come out and just spend some time together, reconnecting after that military career or that military stint, where you just need some time to get back together and kind of just figure out what's next. Where do we want to be? So if you're interested in any of those, I dropped our website in there, so feel free to reach out if you need me. Appreciate it. Thanks, Todd.
Yeah, Scott, thank you so much. And I am going to put a couple of the presenters on notice. I've got the ones that you've been several times with me. So Lori, Keith, Dave, Lucas, I'm going to call on you here in a second. Just give us 10 seconds why they need to reach out to you. But do we have questions for any of the presenters before we wrap up? Everything from SkillBridge to everything else that we share, resumes, anything along those lines. If you have a question, go ahead and unmute yourself. Juan, it looks like you might have a question.
I do. I have one for good afternoon, everybody. My apologies for that. I do have a question for Dave. He was talking about the PMP, like the click function certifications. Can you expand on that? Because I'm going through the PMP cert right now.
So there are some organizations, their SkillBridge program is based on you just sitting in front of a computer and taking asynchronous online training. A lot of those organizations, or some of those organizations who offer that, there's no circle back. They're not checking in on you to see how your training is going. If you have any questions,
Gotcha.
they're not upholding you to any standards. Like, you signed up for this program, we expect you to finish the course and actually earn the certification, right? It's kind of like a just a SkillBridge program for you to just take your uniform off and do absolutely nothing in, right? There's no benefit to you, right? And even those service members who are doing those asynchronous learnings and are trying, they may be getting the lessons, they may be getting the certifications, but the organization that is giving them that training is not offering any kind of job opportunities on the back end, either with them or with any of their partnering organizations. That's the gap that the DoD wants to close.
I see. Okay. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. That's actually one thing that I am encountering right now. A couple guys that are getting out as well. We were having a conversation about SkillBridge, and some of the things that we've been hearing is, hey, well, you have to have qualifications to be able to start SkillBridge. Now, to me, I'm like, well, that's why I'm coming to apply for a SkillBridge, right? If I was let's say if I'm in the IT world in the Air Force, to me, it wouldn't make any sense to get a SkillBridge through IT for an IT company, because I already essentially have a foundation in that. So that's kind of one of the sticking points that I had with that.
So SkillBridge, remember, SkillBridge is for upskilling or retraining. So if you're a junior system administrator and you want to become a senior system administrator, earn more certifications, SkillBridge is very much for you.
Okay.
If you're a Navy cook and you want to learn how to be a cyber analyst, right, that retraining, SkillBridge is for you, right? So any full-time, long-term employment opportunity that now is required to offer $52,000 a year or more is eligible to begin as a SkillBridge opportunity.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dave.
Sure.
Any other questions? Yeah, Mario, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, all. So further on SkillBridge. So I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. I'll be getting out in March. And I've looked on the SkillBridge site and tightened my search to Florida. It doesn't seem like there's much opportunities in the Jacksonville, Tampa area. Did I hear one of you say, and I forget it, maybe it was Dave Schantz, perhaps, that said that third party, they would have access to unlisted SkillBridge associations? Is that right? Did I hear that? That's where I should go to get the undercover? Since I'm on such a short time frame, I don't have, months and months and months to search around. Would that be the best way to approach finding ones that aren't listed on the SkillBridge site, third party?
So I would leverage reputable third party organizations and the organizations that are directly approved through the DoD. One of the worst things you can do is apply to one company or one opportunity. If you apply to one, you can either only ever get one, or you can get zero. But if you apply to 20, maybe 12 of them call you back and maybe 7 of them give you an opportunity. And that keeps you in the driver's seat and allows you to choose which opportunity is best for you and your family. The other thing, based on your question that I want to share, is don't look at the SkillBridge locations page as gospel. Okay, just because an organization is not showing up that they may be able to offer opportunities in Florida doesn't mean that they can't. Never, ever, ever say no for a company. So we'll just take a big one like Amazon, right? Amazon is worldwide, right? Let's just say that they are not listing themselves in the city of Florida where you want to be, but Amazon is SkillBridge approved. I want you to go to that SkillBridge program manager, right, listed on the SkillBridge locations page, and say, hey, my name is Mario. I'll be retiring in March of 2025, and I'm interested in a project manager opportunity with you in Miami, Florida. We'd love to learn more about those opportunities. Make that program manager tell you no. Make them tell you, no, we don't have any remote. We don't have anything in Florida. We don't have any project manager, right? Never, ever say no for an organization.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
And if I could piggyback on that, because my agency, we do participate in SkillBridge, and that DoD page sucks. As a guy on the user end, like, we don't, like, if I have an update for that page, I can't just make the update. I have to submit to DoD. They have to review it and approve it. And sometimes that takes weeks. And on top of that, like, there's times where, like, we submit information and they get it wrong when they upload it for us. Like, it's got the wrong locations or doesn't have any of the locations. It's a hot mess. So I can't stress it. Just reach out to us. Whoever's listed as that POC, reach out to us, because I'm not gonna lie, we don't even post all of our SkillBridge roles on the DoD page. We post some of them. It's up to the hiring manager. They decide whether or not we want to leverage the DoD site. But some of my hiring managers, they know how frustrating the site can be. So some of them were like, no, we'll advertise elsewhere. So always hit us up.
Keith, so how do you really feel about that DoD page?
We're going to keep it PG, family friendly there, Todd.
That's awesome. Any other questions?
Real quick, sorry, I heard it actually today. I heard it equated to the same as DTS. So I know, Todd, that's kind of lost on you, but yeah, all the veterans are now like, yeah.
That's awesome. Any other questions? You got some of the most knowledgeable people in their fields on the call. So now's your time. If not, then we'll go to the ones that are giving enough of their time to be back on this call. So any other questions? Just go ahead and unmute yourself. Yeah, Ben.
Yeah. Hello. Hi, my name is Ben Hightower, and I'm specifically looking for something in the healthcare field. I am in the DC area. So if there's something specifically for a healthcare administration, non-clinical, we can maybe have a conversation after this. But I'm going to use a lot of the resources definitely through networking and stuff, but looking to focus more on the healthcare side. So if anybody has any feedback, I'd appreciate it.
Are you referring to SkillBridge or full-time employment, Ben?
Full-time employment.
Excellent.
Yeah, I will say, Ben, Chris just dropped something in the chat here in Nashville. HCA, it's actually the largest healthcare provider, in my understanding, in the nation. And we're connected with John Snyder. He'd be great. I know they've got a lot of locations down in your area, so he'd be a great connection for you. So,
thank you.
All right, we are going to go ahead. It looks like the question Q&A is kind of done. So I'm going to start with Keith. What in 10 seconds? What do you want people to come away with, and why would they reach out to you?
Just I'm here to help. I have no vested interest. I do work for my agency. I get paid to work with veterans, but I was doing it. I've only been getting paid for the last year. I've been volunteering in this space for 5 years. It's my heart. I've landed my dream job, which, yes, I put in the chat earlier, the dream job doesn't exist. But there's one thing I forgot to mention earlier during my pitch, and for the time's sake, I will just throw it out there and I won't explain it. So if you want me to explain it, hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm the only Keith Cassant in the entire world. It's pretty easy to find me. But there are 5 things I love about a job: the location, the hours, the money / benefits, the people, and the work itself. All right. figure out what your top 3 are, because the perfect job doesn't exist. And if you can at least find your top 3, you'll be statistically happy in that job. All right, I'll put those 5 in the chat again so you can have them on record. But if you want to dive down and drill down with me on a call, whatever it might be, hit me up on LinkedIn. Happy to chat with you folks.
Awesome. Keith, thank you so much. Lori, why would somebody want to reach out to you? What do you want them to take away from this call?
You know, one of the questions I get asked most often is, when should I work on my resume? You know, I think Mario said, I'm not getting out until next year. Do I need a resume yet? You know, so the way I always answer this is, as soon as you know exactly what you want to do in the next phase of your career, you need a resume. You need to be able to build a LinkedIn profile. You need a resume. You need to start networking. And that's why we talk about the transition process being, you know, taking so much time, 18 to 24 months, because part of that time is taken with figuring out what you want to do next. And then you got to do some research and start building that network. And, you know, building a network in the midst of a job hunt is like planting crops when you're hungry. You got to start that process of building your network before you need it to work for you. And so reach out to me. I'm happy to help you translate your military terms, but I welcome you to check out the podcast. I think you will find a lot of great information out there from all the guests that I've had on, many of whom are here on the panel today. So,
Lori, I think you should have moved to the South. That planting crops while you're hungry thing. That's like you know, that's dumber than hair on a wooden leg or something. That's what we say down here in the South. So that was awesome. I love that. Lucas,
I'm the queen of metaphors.
Lucas, why would we reach out to you? What do you want us to take away in 10 seconds from the call? There we go.
Sure, absolutely. For starters, found a SkillBridge opportunity down there in Florida for a foreign disclosure officer. Doesn't exactly align with somebody who's been an Air Force chaplain, but give it a swing. I forget the gentleman's name. The other one was HCA Healthcare. Got about 100 opportunities down there in the Nashville area. I dropped a link in the chat. All right, so feel free to peruse through those. Job opportunities, we have lots of them. Career opportunity, career fairs, 100+ events a year, all with dozens and dozens of employers that want to hire military talent. SkillBridge opportunities only growing within our network, especially in 2025. We're rolling out some amazing new programs. The human touch, our rep will call you. It's not automated. It's not AI chat. It's a human being that works for us is going to call you and walk you through optimizing your profile, all right, getting registered for a career fair, uploading your resume, and show you how to use the job board. Last thing, resources, webinars, seminars, resumes, advice, articles, all just loads and loads of stuff on our resource page to help you wade into the sea of transition and come out smiling on the other side. Last but not least, DAV, do your claim. They'll get it right the first time. Do it for yourself. Do it for your family. Remember, they're here to help. And last but not least, everything I just described, free. Free 30. Free. Costs you nothing. We're here to help. Reach out.
Awesome. Dave Schantz, why would somebody reach out to you, and what do you want us to know last 10 seconds of the call?
Yeah, reach out to me for anything SkillBridge. If you have any questions, if you're looking to connect with employers who are not SkillBridge approved, how to speak to them, don't ever say the word SkillBridge to somebody who doesn't know what SkillBridge is. You'll get ghosted. Own your transition. Nobody's going to do it for you. You have to own it. Okay. It's going to happen one way or another. You're going to be out of service. You might as well do it successfully. And the other ask that I have is, if I looked at every one of the service members' resumes right now, somewhere on there is manager, supervisor, leader. Please be a leader and share the information that you receive, not only from this call, but wherever else you learn information about transition with seniors and juniors alike. Don't keep the good information to yourself. Thanks.
That's a great call out. Well, everybody, thank you so much. All the presenters, obviously, your time is very much appreciated, and really appreciate all that you have shared with us. Reach out to us. Look for that email tomorrow coming from us. And if there's anything we can do to help, then please reach out. In the meantime, everybody have a great rest of your night. Thanks for joining us. See y'all.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks, Todd.
All right. Bye-bye.